Hi guys, I know it's been a minute. Welcome back to the channel. It's Vanessa here. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. And in today's tutorial, we are going to be learning how to do this clutch beaded bag. I promise it's a simple beaded bag to do. Just make sure you watch the entire video to the end. And this is like an intermediate tutorial, so hopefully you know how to do a beaded bag at least. I tried to slow it down as much as I could, but you should at least have an idea on how to bead bags. Right, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like this video if you do liked it. I also made this bag in like the crochet version. It's up on my crochet channel, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Now for beads, I'll recommend 8mm round beads for this, and you're going to be using this clutch right here. It doesn't have any holes of any sort, and you're going to be using a 0.7mm fishing line, scissors, measuring tape. You need some fabric if you plan on lining your bag as well. Now I'm going to be doing some adjustments in this video, which is why I always say you should watch the entire video to the end. So the total length of my clasp is 7 inches, and as you can see, this clasp is a bit rounded at the edges, but the bag is going to come out an almost perfect square, so keep that in mind. Okay, so I'm starting with my 0.7mm fishing line. Now I'll recommend you use a 0.6 fishing line or a 0.5 fishing line for your 8mm round beads. And I say this because when it's time to wrap around this mat that we're about to do, it's the holes. Probably I think it was just the beads that I used, but I had issues with the holes, so I recommend use a lesser number of fishing line. A 0.60 would do perfectly for the entire project. Yeah, so I'm going to start off by making a mat, and this mat is going to be like just a long mat, and it is a 4x24 mat. Now if you've been watching videos on my channel, you probably know what a 4x24 mat is. But if you don't know, a 4x24 mat is just a beaded mat that has 4 rows for the width and 24 rows for the length. So I'm starting off by doing 3 rows. So that is my 3, 1, 2, 3 right there. And then I am going to pick up 3 beads on my right fishing line. And then I am going to cross with the 3rd bead. And that is going to turn my work and prepare me to start row number 2 out of 24. That is going to complete like the 4th, that's the width, that is 4. Then it's going to start 2 out of 24 for the length. I hope that made sense. So now we have 4 rows, so we're just going to be building up the length right now. So with the fishing line on my right, I am going to pick up 3 beads, and I'm going to cross with the 3rd bead, and I'm going to keep beading. Now I didn't say it at the start when I started beading, but to start off a mat, obviously you start with 4 beads. Then you pick 4 beads, put all 4 beads on the fishing line and cross with the 4th bead. Pick 3 beads, one on the left, one on the right fishing line, cross. So that's why I said this is an intermediate tutorial, so you need to have an idea on what you're doing at least. So normally I'll say just do a 4x24 mat, but at least I am still showing a part of the process. So if you're not hearing me, at least you can probably reduce the volume and do what I am doing instead. Yeah, so this is just me building up the mat. I'm still showing it. Insert your fishing line into the following bead from the previous row, pick up 2 beads, and then you go ahead and you cross with the 2nd bead, just like that. And we're on row number 2 out of 24 right now. Right, so right now I'm just finishing off row number 2. I've inserted my fishing line to the bead from the previous row, and with that same fishing line I'm going to pick up 2 beads and I'm going to cross it with the 2nd bead, and that is going to turn and complete row number 2. So it's going to turn in preparation for row number 3. With the fishing line on my right again, I'm going to pick up 3 beads and cross with the 3rd bead, which I've just done, and then I'm inserting it into the following bead from the previous row, and then I'm going to pick up 2 beads and I'm going to cross. And this is what I mean, that is 4 at the corner, 4 for the width, 24 for the length. So you can pause the video to count it on your own. I know my fingers are moving quite fast. Pause it here and count it on your own. So what this 4x24 mat is for is to wrap around our frame right here. We want it to wrap around our frame just like that. Now if you're using a larger frame, these frames come in different sizes. This was the smaller version. There's the medium, there's some that are longer than that, so you're just going to have to measure it according to the frame that you have, and then you're going to attach it to the bag, which is what we're going to do right now. As you can see, I attached one side already. Now I'm going to attach the other side. Now my fishing line is on the last bead at the bottom, the bead whose holes are facing top and bottom, and I'm picking up using the bottom fishing line. I'm picking up one bead and I'm inserting it into the corresponding bead, like the matching bead, the opposite bead on the other side of the fishing line. So this is a basic joining. So if you know how to join beads, this is probably going to be easy for you. Then you pick up one bead and then you cross. Okay, so this is just, we're just joining the mat, or we are attaching the mat to this frame. So just like that, I'll cross with one bead, and then I'm going to take the fishing line on my right, insert it into the following bead right there, take the fishing line on my left, and then I'm going to insert it into the bead that's directly opposite that following bead. So just make sure you're matching the beads up. That's what I'm saying. Pick up one bead, and joining beads, you usually use a single bead to join. So I'm just going to be pulling to join, and I'm going to keep doing that until I'm at least halfway of this, and then I'm going to meet you guys back. So just keep on watching. Right, so right now I am going to maneuver, or I'm going to push the part that I have already joined together downwards, so it comes down the curve, because it's quite difficult to join the beads from the curve and moving upward. So it's preferable to join it on the long surface, the longer surface, till you get about halfway. Then now you push it, just twist it and maneuver it until it gets down the bottom and past that curve area. And when it's past that curve area, you can then go ahead and continue joining it like you normally would. So as you can see, that's what I've just done. Obviously you're going to have a longer rows if you have like the bigger clutch. Yeah, so I'm just going to continue the joining process, and I'm going to let you guys watch, and I'll meet you back. All right, so we're done joining. You can go ahead and fasten off when you're done. Put in your final bead, then tie in your whack. I'm just completing the last join right here. And whenever I'm at the end of my last join, I usually use just one fishing line, and I'm just going to make sure that the fishing line meets the other one, and then I am just going to tie both of them together. All right. And when you're done fastening off, you can go ahead and tuck in all the excess fishing line. Just make sure you're tucking in and cutting your fishing line as you go. Um, it's not really good to leave them hanging. I do sometimes, but it's not good practice. Yeah. Right, so this is what your clutch should look like when you're done. This is what it should look like. And if you try to shut it, it doesn't close completely, that is absolutely fine. You can attach a magnetic lock to the end, or do a cover for your bag if you want to, but just because there's beads right there, it's going to be a bit difficult to close. That's just what I'm saying. So we're going to start building up our bag, and I started building the other side. I'm just going to show you guys where to insert your fishing line. As you can see, I am pointing at it right there. You insert your fishing line right at the corner with the beads that is facing from right to left. Okay, I'm indicating with my hand the beads which are right at the edge, right to left. They are going from left to right or right to left. And make sure you're going to know where to insert it, because when you swipe your hand from the frame to like the mat that I've just did, it should be a smooth swipe. Okay, you should not have any bumps. Now, because I use a 0.70 fishing line, and the holes of this particular bead, this crystal size 8 beads that I was using, were very tiny, the 0.7 fishing line could not go into the beads anymore, so I had to resort to using a 0.25 because that was the next fishing line number that I had. I didn't have a 0.60, so I was just using the 0.25 fishing line to attach the beads to the base. Okay, so I'm just building off that part that I just showed you guys. I started by inserting my fishing line, picking up 3 beads and crossing. Then I'm going to insert my fishing line that is facing down on my right into the following bead. Then I'm going to pick up 2 beads and cross. So this is basic building, like you're building up a bag, you're like attaching it to something and you're building it up the top. So I'll show you guys here, you guys can see it clearly. Okay, so that's why I said it's preferable to use normal round beads, because this crystal beads, since they're of variations of shapes, they do take up space. So use round beads and about a 0.60 fishing line or 0.50 fishing line for this entire project. All right, yeah, so I'm just building the base until I get to the end. So you're just going to use the same method to build the base. So this is row number 1 of the corners of the back. Okay, so I'm still using my 0.60 fishing line and I'm turning right now. I just picked up 2 beads at the end and I'm turning now. And from here on, I could have cut off my fishing line and started using the 0.7 fishing line, but I just wanted to finish off with the 0.25. So I'm just building up row number 2. So you have to build up 2 rows before you attach the sides of the bag. And if you notice, the side of the bag where I'm building this is like, just make sure that you're building in a way that when you're closing the clutch pad, the outermost part is outside. Like, I don't know if that makes sense. Like the part that you're building, just make sure you're building the bag on the right side. Okay, right, so I'm just building it. So I've done 2 rows. As you can see, I have 2 rows attached to my bag right there. And now I am going to, and I built those 2 rows separate, those 2 rows for the handles separate. Okay, now we're going to attach this side to the other side. So I'm just pointing, you see that pointed part there that I was just showing? That is the part that is supposed to be facing upwards when you are building this side of the bag. That pointy part where when you bend it, it is pointy, is pointed basically. You need that part to be facing up to know that you're building it on the right side. I hope all of that is making sense. If it's not, ask me questions down in the comment section. By the way, I'm more active on TikTok. My TikTok is called Call Me Survans. I'll leave the link down in the description box. You can reach out to me. I'm more active on there. And now I'm just going to do like a row of extension to the other side. I just did it. Now I'm going to show you guys how I did it. So I did an extension of 8 rows. Okay, I did an extension of, so after you're done with the attachment of the 2 rows, you're just going to do like a single mat. That's what I've done. So if you count it as 1 2 3 4 5 6 7, then I'm going to be joining with the 8th one. Okay, so you need an extension of 8 rows to meet up with the other side, to join with the other side. So I'm going to do an 8th one and then I am going to attach it to the other side. So just make sure that it's 8 of them. Okay, make sure you've got 8. I'm just trying to get the camera right. So make sure you get the number of rows that you're using for your joining right. You don't want it to be too weak, and at the same time you don't want it to be too stiff. So I chose 8 rows and that fit absolutely perfectly. So I just attached it to the other side and I'm just continuing my normal beading process, inserting your fishing line to the previous bead, into the bead from the previous row. With the other fishing line, you pick up 2 beads and then you cross with the second bead. And yeah, so you're going to repeat it all over until you get to the other side, and then you're going to do it the same thing again. Yeah, so I'll meet you guys back. Okay, so here we are at the other end. I just did 8 rows again. You can pause it here to count number of rows. You see 8. We've got 8 floating rows. Just let's call them floating rows, yeah, because they're not attached to anything at the moment. So you do 8 chains that are not attached to anything, and then you're going to attach it to the next row, and you're just going to keep building in the round basically. Insert your fishing line to the previous bead, pick up 2 beads, and then you cross with the second bead. Insert the fishing line which is facing your work into the following bead from the previous row. Pick up 2 beads and then you cross with the second bead. And yeah, so this is how you attach this part. Now you can build the 2 sides without this attachment to the length that you want. Then you do the attachment later when you're done building most of the bag. So I'm just giving you guys, ideas. I'm just giving ideas on other ways that you can build the bag. So you're just going to keep building until you get to where you stopped. You're going to complete that row and then you're going to keep building upwards to the top. So I am going to see you guys when I am done with this part. Right, so here we are. Now, let me just mention that this is a perfect scrap yarn, I said scrap yarn. I'm not in a crochet, I'm not on my crochet channel. This is a perfect scrap bead project because I just used 2 shades of blues that I had, and these are all size 8 beads, by the way. Make sure that they're at least the same size. I used 2 blues of size 8, and I just tried to make like an ombre effect to all of them. And the total length, you just saw the measurement, and I did a total of 16 rows. Now this entire thing is like a boxy type of bag, so the number of rows that I did upwards were 16. The number of beads which are around the bag are 64. We got 64 beads. So I'm just marking each of the corners here with thread. So I have 16 on each row, which makes it a perfect square. So I'm just marking all the corners because it might seem rounded. But you still need the bottom to be a square. Okay. So maybe if your frame is the larger frame, you can probably do you'll probably have one side that is longer, but this one, it was a boxy type of frame, so I had equal numbers on each side, so 16 16. So I'm attaching my fishing line. First of all, you need to make sure that you're attaching your fishing line into the correct place, or you're going to have a disaster of a bag. So I'm inserting it into the first 2 corners that I marked, picking up 2 beads and cross it with the second bead, and I'm going to continue. Insert your fishing line to the following bead of the row, pick up 2 beads with the other fishing line, cross with the second bead, just like that. So I'm just going to be building it round and round and round until I'm going to end up with it in the middle. So I'm just going to let you guys watch, and then I'll meet you guys when I'm completing it in the middle. Okay, before that, so I've just done 1 row on one side, and I'm just going to take off the yarn on each of the corners, and one of those yarns represent the corner of the previous round of the round I'm working on, and the other side of the yarn shows the yarn of the side that I'm about to start on. So yeah, I just had to mark it like that because it felt like I wasn't seeing which one was the corner and was making it a bit difficult. So yeah, I'm going to meet you guys when I am almost done with attaching all the beads. Also, I was running out of beads with this. That is why I decided to do like this ombre type of method. Like I said, it's a good scrap bead project. If you've got a lot of scrap beads, you can do this ombre thingy. Oh, by the way, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. Tell me what you think that in the comment section. Like this video if you do like it. Share it to someone who might want to make this bag. This particular bag I'm making right here is on sale. By the way, it's up on my Etsy shop. I don't take orders. If you do want to have this bag, you can either use the tutorial to make it yourself, or you look for a beader and tell them to watch my tutorial to make this bag. It's just this one that's going to be available for sale on my Etsy shop. I'll leave the link down in the description box as well. So just keep on building. Right, obviously when you're going to keep building, it's going to get smaller until you get to this side. Now you don't have to build from the corners to the middle. You can do a back and forth, up and down motion. It depends on you. You don't have to follow exactly what I did. The whole essence of me making these tutorials the way I'm making them now is that you should at least get an idea on how to do the bag, and you know, you also come up with ways on how to do it yourself. I mean, there's nothing wrong with copying it my way. You can do it my way, then you'll finally realize, I should have done it this way. It's probably easier this way. That your way is probably easier than mine, and I probably took the longer route. So yeah, so I'm just finishing up right here. I'm going to tie off and tuck in all my fishing line, and all that joining is going to be over. Right, so we are almost done with our bag. The next part, which is totally optional, is to do this cloth covering for the, what's that called, that wire place right there. Now I'll recommend you use a thicker type of fabric for this. I just had this thin fabric, or I was lazy to go and get the thicker one. So you're just going to cut a very long strip of fabric. It should at least be as long as your measuring tape. Yeah, make it as long as your measuring tape. And then you're going to start wrapping in the middle, and then you're just going to keep wrapping it around the silver place. That's it. If you really want to hide that silver place, it's not really necessary to do this. So you're just going to wrap it around as nice as you can. As you can see, my fabric is fraying at the edges, so that's why I have a lighter there to burn it. By the way, you need the needle and thread for this part. And you can do a lining for this bag if you want. By the way, it's not necessary either. Your phone is well protected with this, but obviously a lining is going to make it look good, look more better. I'll recommend it as well. So I'm just wrapping back and forth, and then when my what's it called, oh, when my fabric is almost done, I just got a paper clip to hold it in place, just like that. And then I got a needle and thread, and I just did like very small and very tiny sewing. Okay, so I'm just cutting out the excess right there. I just did very short and tiny sewing, making sure that the stitches are very tight together, and I'm sewing it in places mostly where no one is going to look. no one is going to see. So just hold that in place, and then you're just going to sew that attachment to the that fabric, back and forth, top to bottom. Go as not haphazardly, as I was say haphazardly, but go in a way that you know that is going to be attached to the frame, the metal frame. Yeah, so just go ahead and sew everything down. I'm going to let you guys watch. You can also add a handle to this bag if you don't want it completely clutch. You can use a beaded handle, so a chain handle, a round handle. You can attach whatever handle you want to this bag to make it easier to carry. All right, when you're done sewing everything, cut your sewing thread and light your bag on fire. I'm sorry, not don't light the bag on fire. Just if you had the frayed edges like me, you can light up the frayed edges to make sure everything is nice and smooth. But you have to be careful. You're going to light up the what's it called? The fishing lines, and you're going to start back from scratch. Yeah, so that is it for this tutorial. I hope you guys liked it. I hope you understood what I was saying. Like I said, I have the crocheted version of this same style of clutch bag up on my crochet channel. It's called Vanessa Stitches. You can go ahead and check it out. Here is it. I was doing it for like a craft combo of doing two similar designs of a particular bag. So you can check out my TikTok. I mostly post on there. You're going to see a sort of series, and I post a lot on my personal channel as well, which is called Suri Vanessa. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.